Well, for more now, I'm joined by Mariam Safi. She's the founding director of the Organization for Policy Research and Development Studies. That's a pro-democracy think tank in Kabul. It's good to have you on the program. We just saw that people are trying to leave Afghanistan as the Taliban advances. How dire is the situation in the country tonight?
Well, about 3 days ago, the government imposed a curfew on all cities except for Kabul, so no movement from about 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. And that is as a result of the intensity of the conflict, which has reached unprecedented levels in the past few months. That, of course, coupled with the slow pace of talks at the peace table, have given rise to the uncertainty many Afghans are feeling, and hence pushing some to leave the country.
And we heard in our report that the Taliban claimed that they've taken back 85% of the country. And with the final U.S. troop withdrawal on the 31st of August, do you expect the Taliban to retake the entire country? And the world is wondering, will the Taliban take the capital, Kabul?
Well, at the moment, we have reports showing that about half of the 421 districts in the country have fallen to the Taliban. Now, many of those districts are actually districts that have been contested, meaning neither the Taliban nor the Afghan government had control over those areas. And this has been the case for a number of years. Now, in terms of the manner in which, or the speed in which the Taliban started taking over districts in the north was quite unprecedented. But the remaining districts are those that were contested, and so major cities have not yet been taken over, and there's no proof to show that the Taliban can capture major cities, but most importantly, actually, to not capture but to retain and to govern those cities. So I think that at the present moment, the security situation is, of course, dire in many respects, but I don't believe that we're in a situation where the Taliban are likely to take over the country, which would mean taking over the capital city of Kabul.
Ms. Safi, let me ask you, what does this mean for you? Do you expect to be able to continue your work in the country?
Absolutely. We will be continuing our work in the country, as will many other civil society organizations and think tanks and those conducting humanitarian efforts. Of course, when the security situation tends to get this worse, civil society organizations become innovative in the way they are able to pursue their work. So while efforts of organizations have been hampered in areas that are controlled by the Taliban and in provinces where there is heavy fighting, in major urban centers, their work does continue, and they are trying to find alternative ways to ensure that they can reach their beneficiaries and get their work extended to those areas as well that are now under Taliban territory.
And when you look at the situation in Afghanistan, the security situation is so unstable. You've had 20 years of the mission by the U.S. and NATO troops, and now that it's ending. Do you sometimes find yourself asking, so what was this, 20 years, was it all for nothing?
Well, to answer that with just one word, that's no. I think that what we are seeing right now in the country is a scenario that many had predicted to different degrees, especially with the withdrawal of NATO troops. However, the gains of the last 20 years being the development of institutions, the development of the redevelopment of an army, of a police force, the inauguration of parliament, the rise of civil society organizations. I could give you an example of how far Afghanistan has come. Just yesterday, the Afghanistan Mechanism for Inclusive Peace held a summit with the Afghanistan Women Chamber of Commerce and Industries, and they brought together representatives, businesswomen from 34 provinces, representing over 2,000 formal businesses, 54,000 informal businesses, and they produced a communique in which they, one, reiterated their commitment to continue their efforts in the country, to continue their investments so they can ensure that jobs are created for both men and women. And they also called on both parties to ensure that these efforts continue in a post-peace agreement. This shows that while there is severe instability across the country with ongoing fighting intensifying, there are also these various sectors that are going out there and articulating their wishes and demands and stating that they're going to continue their efforts. And they're going to continue these efforts because there has been tremendous gains in the last 20 years that Afghans do not want to see reversed.
And it's important that you point those out, because I am sure that we can say that with certainty tonight that there are many people around the world that hope that these positive developments stay just that, positive. Mariam Safi, founding director of the Organization for Policy Research and Development Studies. We appreciate your time and your insights tonight. Thank you.